those things there. You put these on the axis. And so the first thing you might do is you might ask the athlete to fill in how important is the skill and how good are you? And so they might put the first one in there and they say, well, this is not very important and I'm not very good at it. Okay. And then same thing, well, this is really important and I'm quite good at it. It's the next one. Next one. And then you ask the coach, the coach does the same thing. And so there's an agreement here, yep, not very good, and it's not important. Yep, important, quite good. And eventually you get a matrix like this. So this is the bit with rugby, is they've got their 30, whatever it is, things in there online, but they don't say what's important and what isn't important, and we've talked to rugby about that, is like stress what's important at the stage of development you're at too, because say what's important for an All Black may not be the same what's important for a 16-year-old. So the things that are interesting straight away are these ones, and this is where the coach and the athlete don't align. And whenever I do this with coaches, they say, look, this is the best bit of the whole process, is having the discussion with the athlete as to why we're not aligned. So when Joe Hunter and Josh did this, we actually did it on a spreadsheet rather than this. So we just had a spreadsheet score of -3 for, so basically -3 for not good at it, or -3 not important, to +3 for important, +3 not good at it. So Josh scored your ability here as 2, Joe scores you as -1. Josh, why do you think you're a 2? Joe, why do you think he's a -1? And Joe came out of that and said, it was such a good discussion because we got aligned. So there's got to be a discussion around, well, why have you scored this 8? And, well, I scored an 8, you scored an 8 over there. We both said it's important, you said you're quite good at it, or vice versa, and I said you hadn't, or the importance thing. So you need to have this discussion, and this is where you think back to those behaviours on that chart, honest conversations. We need to be honest here. What's important and what are you good at? Now, the advice I give to coaches is don't try and win everything here. The athlete has to feel they win the odd one. So what the football coaches do is, we do it on a spreadsheet too, I collate the information separately and I send the spreadsheet to the coach, and they often have a look at it and say, oh yeah, look, I'm going to change my score there. That's not worth having a discussion on. That one I'll have a discussion on. I'll concede on it, but I want a discussion on it. This one, there's no way I'm changing my score on this one. So the athlete feels they won a few. Usually in the importance side of things, they don't win too many because that's how the coaches want to play the game, but on the ability, they can often argue about it. And they say, you argue your case, the athlete. So we need to get alignment as to what's important and what the ability level is between the coach and the athlete. Then the next step, and this is the step the athletes don't often like, is, well, if it's not important, let's get rid of it. We don't need that stuff. It's not important. And they say, oh, but I'm pretty good at this. Yeah, but we've agreed it's not important. So why would that go in the plan? That doesn't need to go in the plan. The things that are really critical are these ones here, because they are both important and you're not good at them. We've agreed they're both important, you're not good at them. These are our 3 out of 10s. This is what's going to hold us back. So we have to address these. Sometimes this happens. Or it's in this quadrant. Everything's important and I'm not good at anything. This is saying everything's important and I'm good at everything. So if that happens, you just do the split again. And just get rid of the non-important stuff. If we go back to that one, often things here might be aligned. So it could be that resistance to injury is important and I'm not very good at it, but also strength's important and I'm not very good at this. So actually, if I improve my strength, my resistance to injury might improve. So rather than focusing on 2 things, you just end up focusing on one thing in the plan. So it's worth having a look at that.
Which of the pillars is the most challenging in football? For those skills?
The young ones, it tends to be often the social emotional, so time management, managing life outside football. That you mean and challenging for them or challenging in the discussion? Sorry, I should clarify.
Challenging at a performance level.
At a performance level, yeah. Well, generally the technical tactical pillar. So in a spreadsheet we colour code it with some conditional formatting. So if it's red, it means it's important and you're not very good at it. Young players have red all over their technical tactical pillar generally, because that's what we expect. The more experienced players don't have as much. But young players also have a lot of red in their social emotional pillar. Physical can vary. Psychological can vary.
Mental.
Yeah, that can vary. Depends on where they are. So, you know, if they do have a mental challenge, then that shows up. The challenge is what's important right now versus what might be important in the future. So if they can't pass the ball now as say an 18-year-old, then probably if there's no mental issue, then that's the most important. And if the strikers, if they can't score goals, that's your issue. So it varies, but there's more problems with young guys than old. So we've just gone through this process, and you know, some of our most experienced players, they haven't got anything showing up anywhere.
Do they do that with the collective as well? With that team?
No, not as it. Well, yeah, they don't do it as formally as this, but there will be discussions about where areas we need to work on. And it comes back to they changed their game plan, so they've just changed slightly a tweak in how they are going to play. So we've got players that score this before Christmas, and they've realised, oh, actually, because we've changed our game plan, the importance and ability things might vary. So that's why the players and the coaches' scores didn't necessarily align. So it was a slight change in game plan.
I'm just interested in the mental
Yeah,
style.
Yeah, I mean, mental does come up.
Dealing with pressure of performing at an Olympics and
Yep.
or
So for some of them, there's, I don't know, we probably got, you know, a third of them will have some mental strategies in their IPP. What we do, I'll show you soon, we try and link it into football, not just a mental strategy as by itself, it's how's this going to impact on your game. I'll show you that in a minute. This is this plus and minus score use. So I think last year I actually said, so I've got a spreadsheet that is conditionally formatted, so I'll turn things red or green. I can send that to Mark. What we found is we had to define it. So first year we did this, players were scoring themselves +2 quite easily, and he said, oh, hang on, whoops. That's what the spreadsheet looks like. We define, hey, for ability, you've got to be in the top 5 in the world at this skill to get a +3. We don't have, might be 2 or 3 +3s in the whole team in total. For +2, you need to be top 5 to 10 in the world. As soon as we did that, it changed the scoring straight away. So you may need to define what does +3 mean. So especially for an age group player, what does +3 mean? What does 0 mean? So 0 is still good. 0 is international standard. But if you're going to score yourself +2, you better be good at it.
You know, on IPP for the young ones, our young girls get the same IPPs as the New Zealand girls.
Yeah.
Would you, as a coach of young people, be rating them because we colour code red, yellow, green?
Yeah.
Would you be colour coding based on international level or based on the best at their age group?
No. So for the under-20 team, it's +3 is senior international. Basically, +3 is 0 for a senior international level. 0 will be international under-20 standards, so there are different ratings.
So you rank it purely based on that team?
On that team, yeah.
Unless that young kid is trying to be international?
Oh, if they're in the senior team, so there are some in the under-20s that are in the senior team, and their rankings are the senior team. Yeah. They
What
just get a lot of reading.
What about the competencies, like competencies outside in training and in the game?
Yep.
You know, passing a ball in training, they could be world champion, but passing a ball in
Yeah,
a
so
game
it's,
on the
it's in
field.
a game. It's so you'll see here it says consider recognition, decision pace, accuracy, timing, both their consistency. This isn't a game. So whenever they're ranking this, they have to consider So it's like both feet. Yeah, I can do it off my right foot, but I can't do it off my left foot.
Yeah, right.
And we also say like -1 is inconsistent international standard. So you can do it, but you can't do it consistently. That'll give you a -1. And as soon as we brought that word in, inconsistent, yeah, I can do that. Can you do it all the time? No. Okay, you're -1. And that was a really big shift in movement in the scores when we brought that in. So this is what the spreadsheet looks like. So importance, player rates it, ability, playing coach rate it, and you can see here, so there's just some conditional formatting in there showing when the coach score and the player score are more than 1 difference, the average score colours yellow. So first step is we get rid of all the yellows. That's where we've got a difference in opinion. We need to have a discussion as to, why do you score yourself 1 and the coach scores you -1 here? And that's what the coaches say. This is the best bit because we have this discussion. And this is where I talk right at the start about subjective and balancing subjective and objective data. This is where you have your objective data. So if you're convinced they're delusional in their score, you can pull out, but here's the data that shows this. So in football's case, they've just got all the matches coded. So they say, yeah, I can take on the opposition to create overloads. Okay, here's the stats on this. You've done it 5 times in the last year and you haven't been successful in any of those times. So the coach will always win that one when they've got that. But they don't believe that data. They've got a discussion first.
So this is only high performance sport though, because certainly for my school kids, I wouldn't, I don't want them focused on being like somebody else. I want them focused internally on improving. So I don't necessarily want them to compare to being a world champion in the top 5.
Yep.
Or
no, so that's where the scoring will be different from a P2 player's IPP compared to a senior player's IPP. Yeah. So you've got to. One, you might decide what are the skills that I need in a school cyclist versus what are the skills in an international cyclist, and your scoring system might be around, your +3 might be, look, you're in the New Zealand junior team, that might be +3 skill, but at senior level that's only 0 or -1, so you have to adapt this for, otherwise they'll get very disillusioned because they'll be scoring negatives all the time. Yeah, so you just adapt the scoring for what you want. So the other thing that's conditionally formatted in this is if the score for importance is high and the score for ability is low, then this colour's red. So you see that, you can just put the numbers in the spreadsheet and instantly you'll see, okay, we need to do something around defending challenging here, something around shooting probably, and something around dribbling maybe, but you look at the whole of the spreadsheet and say, we don't want 27 things in your IPP. We only want maybe 3 to 5 goals maximum.
With developing players,
Yep.
could you not just measure it against the level of expectation?
Yep. Yeah, I think that's one of the big discussion points is what do you want to what do you want to define +3 as? Because if you set it too high, that'll be pretty demotivating. But if you set it too low and they're scoring +2, +3 all the time, then they're getting a fixed mindset out of it. So if you look at this, dribbling, shooting. So this is a real IPP from a couple of years ago. We've got something on dribbling, something on shooting, something on defending, and when you see the IPP, there's something on dribbling here. So improve effectiveness of dribbling, something on defending, improve tackle dominance and accuracy, and shooting, improve ability to score from outside the box with both feet. So the reds move into the plan pretty quickly. And so this is just what the plan looks like. There's a performance goal, there's a strategy, somebody responsible for it, and there's an action plan, how you're going to carry it out.
That's the problem with rugby's IPP, there's like so many boxes and
Yeah, it's 31 or 33 or something.
now they've rained it down to work on X amount from each tier. There's still so much.
So I got shown an IPP for a sevens one player a couple of years ago, and one of the boxes that was red was hydration. And I just said, look, at least there's a clinical issue here. Like that's a 10-minute discussion. There's no way hydration will end up in the IPP. But because it was red, it was going to, and that's like, that's where there was not importance put on it. It was ability. So if you don't drink, just go have a discussion with a nutritionist about how you can drink better. Unless if there was a clinical issue, yes, it would be, but it's like, and that's why there were so many things appearing. So the good thing, what this process does is it gets alignment between the coach and the athlete. So you've agreed what's important and how good you are at it.
Sorry, so just to go back, do you do, are they different for different positions or you
Yes.
just? Oh,
Yeah, every position's got a different.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know when I've done this before, sort of some coaches have said, this is quite a lot of work. And I said, yeah, it is, but do you want to train the right things all year? Or, it's worth putting the work in. This took the football coaches probably a couple of weeks to put together. There's a lot of debating over what do we want here. But once it's together, it's there for as long as they keep playing that way.
You can simplify it though, can't
Oh
you?
yeah, as I showed you, that P2P one was just receiving, brilliant. That's all it was, and then you have a discussion about that. The other thing is that this gives the player, or the athlete, a lot of ownership, because they've agreed this is important and this is what I need to work on. And it also gives them accountability. So if they're responsible for whatever it is, improving a skill, then they're accountable for that. The other thing is, what we get them to do is we get them to prioritising. So, Ian, there might be, say, 4 goals, and we say rank them 1, 2, 3, 4 in priority. Because if a strategy associated with a priority 4 goal is not tracking very well, that's disappointing, but it's not as bad as a strategy not tracking with a priority 1 goal. So, well, that's pretty critical. And the other thing is education, especially with young athletes. So I'll give you an example. In the physical thing in football, we have 3 areas of recovery. We have recovery nutrition, recovery physical, which is skins and ice baths, and recovery sleep. And when we asked them to rank the importance of this, we were finding that the young players were rating recovery, the importance of recovery physical, their skins and ice baths, as +2 out of 3, and for sleep and nutrition it was like 0. It's saying you can ice bath yourself to death, but if you're not eating and sleeping, well, you ain't going to recover. And after about the 4th player that came up, and he said, why are you rating recovery physical so important? Oh, because the strength and conditioning always makes sure we do that after training. And it's like, oh, and she was in the meeting and she, okay, right, I need to just change how much emphasis I put on that. Hey, look, eating and sleeping are the 2 main recovery modalities. The ice baths and skins, they're nice, but if you're not eating and sleeping, then it doesn't matter what you do with the rest. So it was a really good education process for the young players. That they, okay, yeah. It was just the emphasis that was placed on it. And I really like this quote. So this is what Tony Reading's coach of football food says at the start of every IPP. It's like, if everything's important, nothing's important. Because you've got some athletes that put +3 in importance for every skill. Well, again, if you're a striker and you miss a ball in front of goal, versus you don't quite get your competition nutrition right, one of those is critical, and it ain't the nutrition. The other thing they do is, this is just an example, but again, in your IPPs, is you're tracking, you're seeing, are we doing so, are we improving? So here's an example. One of the players had improved one-on-one defending, so they have a measure they use, a 6-point scale for tackling. So you get 6 points if you fully commit to the tackle and you come away with the ball. 5 points if you fully commit to the tackle and your team comes away with the ball, down to 1 point you don't commit to the tackle at all. And so each player gets a tackle efficiency score, or tackle honest score after a game. And so you can see over time, it's heading upwards. And obviously it depends on the opposition you play too.
So how do they actually get to those?
So every tackle they make in a game gets scored.
Okay, so this is something else.
Yeah. And so, she had a pretty good game there. Most of her tackles were pretty effective. She had a disaster in that game.
But over time, you can see, because it was in the IPP, you can see you are progressing. Because if it was going the other way, well, we need to intervene, we need to change things because this is in the plan and it's not progressing as it should.
This is the subjective
It's, yeah, it is, but you committed there and you came away with a walk. That's 6 pointer. Yeah, it gets a little bit subjective when you get into the threes and fours. Yeah. And it's about the only slide on daily training environment. It's like, so you've got this plan. Are you training? What's in the plan? That's my quote. If I spend enough time in your environment, I should be able to see what's in your plan because I'll see you doing it all the time. If I say, oh, this must be in your plan, you say, no, why are you doing all this stuff for training? It's like, it doesn't make sense. Okay, have a chat with your neighbour. What do you make from that?
Younger people not so much, just getting into so much detail and make aware of what you're good at and what you're not good at, and especially young girls like to train what they're good at, and they sort of see, oh, but that's right, setting it off, but that's all like juniors, whatever else, and it's really established. So I guess making them aware of how important it is and what responsibility they decide we have for our positions, they might sort of go, oh, maybe they should try
where do they need to be in the priorities right now?
Inside the
maybe it's figured
and they don't get there. Started observing them in sight.
Anyway, 10-minute meeting with everyone.
So I tried to do this type of thing, which is the dynamics of what I was doing. Whereas one I wanted to see them in a moving game, not moving. Balance will be a bit different.
10 of them are in by virtual contracts, so we're guaranteeing them.
You just got to watch
Otherwise, in that group,
I think I'm the marking you Well, it's not, and that's what we're going to show a couple of videos.
when we put our super local-based players and across our U2s, that's where
It's a great tool for us, especially when we fight the fours and get that stuff going.
one of those and two of those not only last one fails and get rid of them because of my what makes them up. So a lot of this individualised stuff.
After every game, I think we touch the goal. It seems like hell. We had to even if they didn't know about
Really, really fast, really, really important. Kicks are very crucial for swimming. And you'd see it all the time, like kicks get goals ball, and they just try to show the girls go in front of them, and they wouldn't put in the effort. If you hit a one-off, you said, right, let's pick as fast as we can, you go, so the time you want that to go home, so you do it right, but then the rest of the time they put it, and then you go to a policy which they were all really good at, and they're looking at the front and they're improving themselves, 100% effort, and sort of, yeah.
Okay, I'll just show you the spreadsheet that I'll send this to Mark tomorrow. So this is just a spreadsheet that's got conditional formatting. There's like 50 rows of skills down here, so you can just put the skill in where I put XXX in there, and you'll see what happens. So the athlete rates this 3. If you rate it 1, boom, that cell turns yellow. If you rate it 2, it's fine. So if we go along here, and I'll just put I can't see this, but I'll put a -1 in here, boom, that's going to go red because importance score is high, ability score is low. So I'll send that through if that's of any use to you, especially in the team sports. It saves you heaps of time. You just send this to the athletes and say, fill this out and send it back to me, so you don't have to, you're only going to discuss the things that are yellow.
So yellow is a mismatch between what the coach and the athlete thinks,
Yep.
and the red is a mismatch between ability and importance.
Yeah, and there's a green one in there as well, I think. If so, if the coach scores 3 and make the athlete 2 and your ability is good, yeah, 2 is green. So those show you your strengths.
Okay.
Now that's always a debate, or do you just work on your weaknesses? Well, sometimes there'll be strengths. If you make them strengths even better, this could be a game changer for us. So it's that combination between how many weaknesses. So what I often say, if the weakness is going to be, if the opposition can take, if they can make an impact on your weakness, or the weakness is holding you back, then that's got to be in there. The strength, if you can make an impact on the opposition, and strength would also be in there too.
So how detailed is the skill profile?
As detailed as you want it to be. So as I say, for P2P athletes in football, it's pretty basic. For seniors, it's quite detailed. Yes.
So for trampolining, would I put individual skills or part skills, or what's your suggestion?
If they've got certain skills you want them to have and they're working on, you might name the skill.
Yep.
Or if you're very generic, you just might say a variety of skills as your
Right, so yeah, not single somersaults.
yeah.
And this is just for the technical, tactical.
No, that is the same thing for physical, mental.
Can I be on the tabs at the bottom or on the same?
Yeah. I mean, I'll just, as I say, I'll just keep it pretty simple. There's just 50 lines, but in the football firms there's like 70 lines in some technical, tactical, and there's 30 lines in physical.
Yeah, because it must
So it
cover,
can all
I
be
mean,
the
you just
same
cover
document?
everything.
You just copy and
Yeah.
paste into a new sheet.
Yeah.
So you can put preparation, forgot shoes, which happens often enough in cycling, then they can't ride their bikes, kind of thing. You're like,
Yeah,
Quite
so
important.
Times
Is that
is
very
very
I bet they have your phone though.
and they can, and their mums and dads and bring them.
Never ever forget
That's
that.
right.
So if you have a number of, like, lots of yellows and reds, do you then just pick out how many do you focus on?
yeah, you just pick out.
That's what it is.
Yeah, so that's what it looks like.
Yeah,
So
that's a good one.
she's the captain, so of course she's got lots of green.
Oh, there we go.
There's red. Yeah, so that's the skill. Is the skill is deciding how many things to put in. So what we find is the more experienced players, you may only be putting 2 or 3 goals in there. The younger players, it's like, what do I leave out?
Yeah.
And what I normally do then is I look at the importance score. If it's important, so if everything's red, the things that are really important go in, the things that are less important, because the importance is a bit of a sliding scale. It's like if you score 3 in importance, you've only got to be scoring 0 in ability for it to go red. But if you score 0 in importance, you've got to be basically having -2 ability for it to go red. So it's a sliding scale. And so I wouldn't be putting, if there's lots of reds, anything that's got an importance of 0 or 1, I probably wouldn't put in. I only put the high importance ones in, or that's how we discuss it. It's like, what are the critical things? So again, if you think of the scale, it's things at the top, and the importance side of things.
When you send it through, can you send them through with questions and everything, the actual key things you've been using, just to, so all of those things without a name and without scores.
Oh, okay, blank one, yeah.
Yeah, a blank one but not blank, just so we get ideas of
Yep.
what sort of thing to use. So it will be quite
Yeah,
hard stuff.
want to be before you.
No, but it gives you a bit of an idea.
Yeah, I'll send one through from a couple of years ago, because it's not the current one, but you'll get an idea, so you'll see how
That'd be
detailed it
great,
is. And, yeah, it's,
But I can show you a post-competition review form that I've used with Kieran too,
Oh, brilliant, yes
which
please.
is all similarly based, so technical application, technical appreciation, physical conditioning and stuff.
That'd be great, Craig, thank you.
okay, so I've given you a sheet, so just for 5 or 10 minutes, just have a bit of a play. It's very hard to ask you now what are the technical and tactical components of your sport. You might be able to do that, but as I say, it took football coaches 2 weeks to agree on it all. But what I've done is put like some generic things that will cover all sports. So what you might want to do is just have a bit of a play. I'll just let you go for 5 or 10 minutes of looking at, okay, well, my athlete, the capacity to handle the training load, how important is that? How good are they at it? So you can just fill in that. We often do this with little post-it notes that you're moving around, but you can just roll in the sheets. I'll leave the sheets here.
I've got post-it notes if people want to use post-it notes.
Up to you. I'll leave the other sheets, the spare sheets. I'll give you a second spare sheet.
I mean, in all fairness, it would be enough
So if you teach
So
spreadsheets the way
we
to
just
go.
think of one athlete that we.
Yeah, just think of one athlete, and you can just go for physical area only, or you can just go on life area, or just the mental, or you can go on all three. What I often say is, if you're going to do it on a sheet, don't try and fit everything on one sheet, because it just gets too crowded. So you might, have a technical, tactical sheet, and you might have a physical, mental, social, emotional sheet.
You always use post-it notes.
So it's actually quite an easy task once
Once you've set it up.
the profile is set up,
Yes.
isn't it? Very easy.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've got the profile, and now just doing it relative to the boards, what's important, so hydration is not important,
No.
big picture.
But what I've done is, I guess, give the same, simplify that
Because otherwise,
to what really is important.
Talking hydration, worst ever performance at the Olympic Games, I hadn't talked to a nutritionist, we were in Greece, drink, you only need to tell me that once and I'll do what you say. I drank, water, I had saved my Hawley's electrolyte replace for the race because I've been overseas for 6 months.
Yeah.
I didn't do well on Gatorade or whatever, so I would only have a little bit of electrolytes every now and again. And halfway through the race, yeah, couldn't turn my legs, cramping, worst muscle pain ever, cramping, peeing water for the next 5 days afterwards because I just had absolutely nothing in me. Worst experience of my entire life. Hydration's not important.
I'll probably
Yeah.
education around hydration.
Thank you.
So hopefully we've got
I was
athletes that know
gutted,
this.
that's exactly right. So I was gutted that I didn't have the foresight to do something about that because no one came and said anything to me about that.
Yeah.
And the nutrition people that were a part of the team were pushing at the introduction, make sure you drink lots of water, we're in Greece, it's hot, blah, 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 blah. And so I was like, oh God, it is hot. I've been in Germany where it's been bloody freezing for the last 2 weeks and now I'm in hot weather.
Yeah, so hopefully nowadays everybody's doing their monitoring to
Totally.
know where they are every day. So,
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so, but something else will come along for someone, I would imagine, who didn't have a plan or who hasn't been shown this type of thing. As we did very rough ones. This is what we were going to be. We didn't know where we were going to be leading into the games.
So that would be that example of, physical recovery is more important than sleep and nutrition. Is like, ooh, we're glad we picked that up. Otherwise,
totally, exactly that.
So that's part of and that's what the education process of going through this is quite important for young athletes. Because what they think is important is often nowhere near what the coach thinks is important. And so that's that whole conversation around it. It's, I'll go back to striker. If you're missing a goal, I couldn't care less what you eat. I couldn't care less what your training's like. Your job is to score goals, and if you can't score a goal, that's the most critical thing for us. So normally what I would do now is I'd ask for a volunteer and we just work through the plan on there, but you're such a talkative group, we're running out of time, so we haven't got time to do that. But I think you get the idea. There's a couple of points that come out of it is how much do you put on the plan? So my rule of thumb, we learned this from netball. So they're problem children. They would have 11 goals and 15 strategies associated with those goals in the plan, and they'd fail every one of them. The good people would have 3 goals and they'd succeed with all of them. So not too many goals. So it's the big rocks. What I like talking about is the big rocks we need to work on. There's other things that are business as usual. So just because there's not a strength and conditioning strategy or goal in your plan doesn't mean you don't do strength and conditioning. It's just not a big rock. Just because there's no nutrition strategy in there doesn't mean you don't do nutrition. It's just not a big rock. But for some people, it might be. It might be, hey, you're carrying too much weight. We need to, let's go on the next slide for it actually. Yeah, this is a good example of it. So we've got these outcome goals, we've got these processes, and there might be one or more strategies associated with each process. So it could be you're wanting to improve acceleration over 20 minutes. That could be, one of your goals. Now, those of you that did high school physics will know that force equals mass times acceleration. Acceleration therefore equals force divided by mass. So how do we improve acceleration? Well, we increase the force of the muscles and we reduce the mass that's not contributing to that acceleration. So there's an example of 2 strategies to achieve that goal. Here's the goal, improve acceleration. You might have one that's about getting stronger and the other one about reducing skin folds. Both of those will contribute to this. So strength and conditioning might be responsible for this one, nutritionist might be responsible for this one. What I'd really like to do is try and relate it to the sport. So here's a good one for team sport. If you say to a striker, hey, I want you to score more goals, increase your scoring opportunities, that means a lot more than improving speed over 10 metres. But one of the strategies associated with that might be, well, if you're faster over 10 metres, you will put yourself in a position to score more goals. But if you just say, I want you to be faster over 10 metres, yeah, maybe, but hey, score more goals, well, yeah, that's me. So we often say, look, if you can relate it to the sport, the goal is around the sport, and then anything that's not specifically the sport, you link into it as a strategy that will appeal to an athlete far more than that being the goal. So it could be, say, a sprinter, could be improving start. That would appeal to a sprinter. Improving the start, yeah, okay. How are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to increase my leg power, improve my technique around it, and maybe there's a mental strategy about being more aggressive. Whereas if you just went to a sprinter, oh, I want you to do this. Well, yes, definitely. As we said, prioritise. Like, what are the really important goals? Yes, I think about 95% actually. So, yeah, prioritise those goals. The other thing is just in the plan, like who's responsible for each of the strategies? Who does it rest on? How do you know whether you're successful? So have a bit of a measure. So this is tricky when you get into the mental and life skills side of things. And how do you measure improved aggressiveness? Well, sometimes it might just have to be a coach's opinion. So that's fine. I remember talking to a business specialist once, and he said, you know, KPIs should be about 50% hard measures and 50% soft measures. So you can have a hard measure of a time, you can have a soft measure of a person's opinion. So that's fine, but there needs to be a measure. How do you know whether you've been successful? And then this action learning cycle, how are you tracking? Are you heading in the right direction? So that tackle dominance. Yep. You know, after 2 games you'd be saying, well, no, but after 4 games you'd say, okay. And then what happens if you're off track? So we often colour code our reviews red, orange and green against the strategies. Red means you are off track, we need to intervene. We need to do something different. If you're red, we need to intervene. If you're green, everything's nice. Orange is where a lot of people just sit, like, yeah, I'll sit on the fence here. What we found through netball was people that tracked orange through their whole plan ended up red at the end of their plan. So, rule of thumb now, if you're tracking orange 3 times in a row, you're probably red. It means you know, orange is, oh yeah, that's all right. But if it keeps tracking orange, then you're red. So, just to summarise this whole process. So we talked about knowing what it takes to perform, and I think this one appeals to coaches the most. Because if you don't have that one, then you can't put the plan together. And that's the challenge most coaches find. You know, I think this is in Bay of Plenty last year. One of the coaches said, oh, this is hard. I said, what's hard about it? Just defining what makes up performance. I said, yeah, it's quite tough, isn't it? Especially when you're trying to do it at, say, a developmental level versus a senior level versus an international level. They'll be different. Once you know that, then you have the debate around, okay, what's going to go in the plan and what's not going to go in the plan. So, you know, you've got all these red things here. What are we actually going to put in? What's going to have the biggest impact? I'll show you a tool on that in a second. Are we actually training what's in the plan? is the daily training environment aligning to what's in the plan, and are we getting this constant feedback? Things are moving in the right directions. Often football coaches, they'll say, they're just not getting this today. And I'll say, yeah, but today doesn't measure their learning. What were they like a month ago? Oh, they're miles better than they were a month ago. Well, okay, that's what you compare it with, not just today. It's how were they a month ago? Learning, we talked about debriefs, pre-briefs, that action learning cycle, having the growth mindset. Who would think that a growth mindset would end up in planning? But it does, because it's so important about learning. If you take learning as a part of planning, then it's critical. And then we're back to knowing what it takes to perform. We talked about having an outcome goal or an IPP, processes, maybe one or more strategies with each process, and a measure of success. And then the final tool I just want to show you is this one. So when you do have a lot of reads, and you're just trying to decide what should go in the plan and what shouldn't, here's a nice little tool you can use. It's effort, the amount of effort required versus the impact. So low effort, high impact, or what are called quick wins. If you want some success quickly, look for things that require low effort. So it might be, something like just a change in diet. It's reasonably low effort, but it could have a high impact straight away. And that will appeal to athletes when they see success straight away. These things, they require high effort. They do have a high impact, but they tend to be longer term things. That might be, 1 to 2 years. Whatever you do, avoid anything that requires high effort and low or little impact. And these are things that just get in the way. So, it's the things that are going to impact for whatever goal the athlete wants. And my final slide is this quote from The Mentalist. I don't watch The Mentalist, but I just love this slide. Sometimes, Brendan McCullum yesterday, he's out, that's no ball. Yes, there's the thing you didn't see there. Whereas last test, out with a no ball, without a no ball, and it's quite a good way to read. So that's me finishing 2 minutes early. Any questions, burning questions or discussions you feel you need to have with a neighbour?
I'm just wondering if there's room for sort of something new or something different coming into it. Maybe it's in the reflection at the end, but a little bit like that Frosby flop, and if you were to follow the competencies of high jump or the skill requirements of high jump, and we've been saying, no, you need to do your little scissor kick, then maybe that would never have, if we were going through all the check boxes, no, you're going to go straight up kind of thing, and he was leaning over, and stop doing that, please,
Yep, not ticking your
No, not ticking your IPP off, you're not meeting those requirements. Is there room, maybe it's just in discussion, I don't know.
I think if we go back to the rugby example, the change in laws, so you can have an innovation meeting or an innovation project that might address that. So you might need to change, based on the change in laws, how you play the game.
Yeah, right.
So that's sort of imposed on you. But Bill Walks, double hand, backhand, the Fosbury flop, some of the...
Well, for example, I read something about a kid that was starting to play badminton, and it was the only sport he had gone into, and he was just loving it, but he would do a double-handed smash or something like that, and they just tried to beat it out of him, and he gave up and walked away. And when they asked him why, he just said, I'm no good at it because I can't do a single-handed smash. And they were like, come back in, and so long as you're happy and playing and you can do your little double-handed whatever.
Dan, I used to be a national badminton coach. Why double-handed smash?
That's interesting, because before we had last year, Anton Devsich, who's a local cricketer around here, he said the same thing. whereby he bowled a particular way through school and was picked up in this academy. Then they housed him down at that cricket academy down in Christchurch and completely changed his action and ruined him. And he didn't, so now he's gone back to what he had, and now his career's is back to where.
Golf went through a phase of that too.
But
Golf went through a phase of that too. Everybody had to swing the club exactly the same way.
Yeah.
And then they realised that they were actually losing. Yeah, because I mean, if you study golf, some of the best players in the world are actually technically not very good.
Well, swimmers are the same. All those
Jim
elite
Furyk,
Yeah.
his father was a golf coach, and you see Jim Furyk and you think, what is this little waggle at the top of the swing? But when you go back to it, what's the most important thing in golf is having the club square impact. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter how it gets there, that's all that matters. And so I think that's what you've got to look at.
Yeah.
What is really critical, because there are some principles you have to stick with.
Yeah.
How you get to that, that's where you debate.
Because even swimmers, you have the 8 lanes into the final of swimming or whatever, and they all do different strokes. It's just, well, not different strokes, it's slightly different techniques, so not big strokes.
Breaststroke isn't a freestyle racing. But Janet Evans, those of you old enough to remember Janet Evans? Cam, do you remember Janet Evans? She was just wow, but fastest in the world.
What do you do when, like, you've got the New Zealand framework which you align to, that group underneath, and then they want a player to look this particular way and do this particular thing, and then you have a player who is unique in the overall, like we've got a girl I'm working with, she's a 90 kg strike prop who runs 5'3" over 40 metres, and until now it's been you've got to lose weight, you've got to get smaller, you've got to get smaller. Then the Ione brothers come out, and you have a man version of that on a 7 stage, and then they go, oh maybe, like the image of what they want right now is only that until that changes. And so someone like that, a 90 kg woman who can run fast repetitively, they don't have that on a world stage, but they haven't wanted that till now. Now
most
they want it.
unstable human beings in New Zealand are associated with sevens rugby.
Yeah.
Coaching. Yeah, seriously.
Because like
That's
they
getting
never
into
wanted
politics
it,
of sport,
and now they do.
and I'm not going to
Because
go
the
there.
mindset's changed.
I
But I was like, it's hard for players when they're trying to mould and change themselves to tickle this IPP stuff, when actually if you saw them for the superpowers they actually have, I don't know.
There are always people that break the mould and accept.
It's hard to manage that though, because I mean you've just got to hope that people who are in those positions have actually developed an adaptability to what they do or what they say.
Because the thing is, she's 90 kgs, but her skinny's only 112, so it's not like you're not actually going to get her to drop any much more weight.
Yeah, what's the point anyway? She's producing it. And you don't
It's just
really want to
the
change
mindset
it.
of what you think you
If it
want.
was debilitating to what she can produce, but if she's producing what's required, then we'll obviously change it.
Yeah, I think it's looking outside the square sometimes, and that's where some of the great coaching breakthroughs happen. So, yeah, I'm not advocating follow,
Yeah.
but there'll be certain negotiables, and that's why I'm going to show you this video. This is not part of the plan presentation, but it's just a funny video to finish with that shows you. Sorry, I've got it connected with my speakers, but you should be able to hear it.
We don't need noise, we don't need.
I've been asked many times.
You hear that?
Jason, what are your swing thoughts as you're swinging? What are the secrets? What are the secrets of golf? Well, I heard this one time, and I remembered it. It's really, if you write this down, it really helps. What I try to do, I try to flat load my feet so I can snap load my power package. That way I can amplify both ride and drag pressure so you have fixed. As long as my number 2 power accumulator doesn't break down, I can reach maximum centrifugal force and minimum pivot resistance. You see, the pivot is utilization of multiple centers to produce a circular motion that generates centrifugal force on an adjusted plane plus makes velocity necessary to move the two on the other hand. See, golf is geometrically oriented linear force. It involves a physical muscular thrust and the geometry of the circle. You can divide the golf swing into 24 basic components, each having between 12 and 15 variations. Now, when you think of all this, and you get it all set, hopefully you'll hit shots like this.
So that is where we don't want to be as coaches.
that's the total opposite of what you want. It's like it's all defined like this.
It's an argument for the metaphor, eh?
Yeah.
Metaphor.
Don't be that guy.
Hey, thanks, Ray. Fantastic. I really enjoyed